Originally, this whole series was meant to be one video, but it was just too long, so I broke it up into pieces. This is part 2 for my tier ranking every named character American Girl doll. Logan is up here also setting the bar. I don't know if it's unpopular to put the boy doll, who didn't even get his own book, up here with like Luciana and Joss. But everything American Girl had for Logan was great. I love his name. I love his design. His story is amazing, and he actually feels Southern. I might have to reread the books, but from what I remember, I really like his character, and I think he's well designed. I wish American Girl had more. I actually wish he had been more of the focus doll. I know it's American Girl, but I don't like Tenny. As a Southerner, Tenny is personally kind of frustrating for me. She plays into a lot of stereotypes that just aren't true. She's not even dressed Southern. Where are her jean shorts and jeans? And like, where's the plaid? Like, down in the South, the girls are not super girly. Like, I lived down here my whole life, and Tenny genuinely feels like what a city person thinks a little girl in the country would be like. Her name is fine. It sounds more like the nickname for a 9-year-old than one for like a 12-year-old. I think there were much better names they could have gone with. But they were trying to make her as like Southern twang as possible. And her story is so unrealistic that it's annoying. I honestly only read for Logan because Logan was really funny. And her songs don't even rhyme. It's the most insane thing. Maybe I'm only remembering one of them, but I'm pretty certain I've read multiple. There's no way she at 12, maybe Logan at 14, opening for a concert, but no, like, if they were going to make her Taylor Swift, they should have just copied Taylor Swift. Maybe they were, well, I was about to say maybe they were afraid they'd get sued again, but she was before Luciana, so honestly, Tenny is just disappointing. She would be in this category if I was not so personally invested or in unnecessary. The one thing I like about her is she is representing an underrepresented area of the country for like American Girl dolls in media, but she's not necessarily good representation. Gabriella is also going into meh, although she technically actually fits in kind of amazing. Actually, hold on. Yvette, I think, kind of belongs here. Just because she's cute doesn't mean she's great. So, Gabriella had a lot of potential. I wish American Girl had been more focused in how they handled her, and maybe done some more original stuff with her, like stuck more to her writing, or made her like a novel writer, or made her into like the singing and the poetry and like, or the student government stuff, like kind of focused her, especially like for her collection. Everything with her just kind of felt all over the place, and they reused a lot. They reused, from what I can tell, her design from A Truly Me and Mckenna's loft bed. So Gabriella could have been amazing, but she wasn't. Leah is adorable, but she was completely unnecessary. I don't think Leah brought anything to the table and didn't necessarily do anything that hadn't already been done with more interesting dolls. And even though she's super pretty, her story was her collection was not so great, and her movie is really frustrating for lots of reasons. So that's kind of where I am with Leah. Grace is going into This Is Personal. Grace in the book just kind of felt bratty. And then even beyond that, her collection was okay. It was fine, but one thing that just pissed me off is, so she was, at the time, the second most expensive doll I'd ever purchased, right behind Isabelle. And they decided that now they were no longer going to sell dolls. They were selling special earrings just for Grace, but she wasn't going to come with her ears pierced. They wanted you to pay even more than the already expensive $120. And that just frustrated me so much. That plus the experience reading her book just really has given me bitter feelings toward Grace, even to this day. It just kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. And it was especially frustrating, too, that then later that year, like right at the end of the year, they marked her down to $84. And it felt like they were punishing the people who actually were excited and got her early by then marking her off so much. I mean, went from 120 to 84. That's $36 off. That's more than enough to pay for her ear piercing. And Grace just is kind of on my bad side because of all that. Similarly, Isabelle, the more I make these videos, the less angry I am about Isabelle. But oh my gosh, when she came out, was I frustrated. And I still kind of am. The pants for her meat outfit are awful. She was the most expensive doll in a while. She got kind of whiny in her story, although that might have been more because I was starting to get outside the target audience at that point. Her highlights were really frustrating because even if, let's remove the whole, like, permanent aspect of them. I know some people are happy that they were removable and some people were not and are not. But I feel like they at least should have been prominent, like where you put them in and you can easily see them on the doll, like they're noticeable, as opposed to them being tucked way under her hair. They were just not well designed, and again, for such a high price tag. Isabelle is, I think, one of only 2 times I've ever considered returning a doll. I basically, originally, I like Isabelle much more now. She's adorable, except for all the other stuff I mentioned, but I heavily considered returning her because I was so disappointed in her quality. And speaking of quality, Isabelle was the wrong doll to do the whole mix and match collection with, because one, most of her stuff needed other things to go with it. It wasn't like where, like if they had done it with Sage, let's just pretend, or Grace, let's pretend they did it with Grace, and like they sold her boots separately, and dresses, and aprons and shirts and stuff. Grace would have been okay because her outfits, you didn't need other stuff from her collection to be able to use and appreciate these items. But for Isabelle, it was like $14 for basically a shrug, or like, or what is it called? Like, it's like a crop top sweater thing that has to go over something else, or like leggings, or one little wraparound skirt that does almost nothing. She was just not the great doll, because the whole, what I feel like the point of the mix and match would be, is you pay a tiny bit extra if you wanted to get the whole outfit as separate pieces, or a whole like outfit. But you have the benefit of you only have to get the things that you really like. Like, there were a lot of things in Laney's collection where it's like, oh, I really like this, but not this. Or, with other dolls, it's like, man, I love the pants with that outfit, or the shoes. Isabelle was not like that. You kind of needed lots of the pieces. So Isabelle and Grace, the biggest thing with them is it really just felt like American Girl was trying to suck as much money as they could without delivering on the quality and customer service that American Girl had been known for. Sage could have been amazing. She was interesting, but I feel it kind of is sad that in her design and collection, they lean way more towards her being from New Mexico instead of her artist theming. And that's disappointing, especially when she's the only artist. But yeah, Sage, it's very pretty. Just wish they'd been more focused with the theming for her. Mckenna is pretty close to what I would say is the perfect girl of the year. She's not exactly perfect. Her book was good. Her movie was very bad. Her collection, I wish it had a little more stuff to it. And I do wish she had a part in her hair. But otherwise, Mckenna is really good. I like her story. I like her theming. She's definitely stands out from the other girls of the year, even if she looks a little similar to Elizabeth in some ways. The movie, part of the reason it was so bad is they took this girl who, she has like a learning, I can't remember if she officially has a learning disability, but she definitely is struggling. And in the book, her cheating is much more subtle. Like, in the movie, she gets caught because she's leaning out of her chair to, like, stare at another student's answer. And most kids would look at that and be like, yeah, obviously that's cheating. But what she did in the book, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is she goes to, like, the smart, nerdy girl's house and is like, hey, can I check my homework against your homework? Which basically you have to think about it and realize, oh, she wants to just copy her homework. And it's much more like, oh, getting answers from a friend. That's cheating as well. So, I mean, yeah, that wasn't great. So the movie took a lot of the gray area out of, her character, and then she was just kind of whiny and annoying in general. And then, finally, in the book, she gets injured because, again, I might be wrong, but from what I recall, she gets injured because she's so stressed with everything going on, and she can't focus, basically, and she tries to do the move, and she's off her A game because of all the fighting with her friends and all the stress, and that's where she gets hurt. In the movie, she gets hurt because she was doing something she wasn't supposed to. Her coach deliberately said, hey, don't do this move. You're not ready for it. And Mckenna did it anyway and got injured. So she's much less likable and much less interesting.